Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Apologies, no warm-up music today. I just haven't been nearly organized enough. It's been a very intense morning already. I can feel that we are building to this Wednesday's lunar eclipse, which is in my home sign of Sagittarius, and I can feel this intensity coming through. So maybe I will add some music when I do the recording. So let's just see who we've got on. There's 62 of us at the moment. Let's come across the screens. Hi to everyone. Oh, hello to Michael there over in LA. Thanks for joining us. And good to see so many of you. New faces, old faces, as in, when I say old faces, I don't mean old, I mean faces that have been regulars pretty much since we started these sessions back in January. So I am going to start with an alignment and an invocation, and I'm going to do this one. I've done it before, but I'm going to do it again at the risk of having some adverse comments. I always get some adverse comments when I do this one, but it feels very important and relevant to me this morning to read this out as our alignment, because it just feels so important just to make that connection between the 5D and the 3D worlds, because this is truly what we are being called to create, heaven on earth. And it is about that place where, from the base chakra, all of this fear and survival of the base chakra through the sacral, where we hold a lot of trauma, through the solar plexus of our individual ego self. And then you have the higher dimension of the crown chakra, the third eye, seeing through the illusion, and the throat chakra, speaking our truth. And so those all meet at the center in the heart. And this is what we're being called to be now: heart-centered human beings who are primarily driven by the heart, and the mind is the servant of the heart, as opposed to everything being run by the mind. So when we make that shift into the heart, and our mind is guided by the heart, that is super powerful. And unfortunately, what is happening, what we're seeing across the planet, this techno online heartless world which is being created for us, it's all in the mind, it's all logical, yes, no, off, on. There's no soul, there's no heart to it. That's my perception. It's also my perception of those people who have had the vaccinations, the V's, or I should say the experimental gene therapy, of course. My observation is that somehow when I meet people who say, oh, I've had the full thing, it's like there's a dimension missing from them. There's a soullessness and a heartlessness. There's a dimension missing, and I worry about what is in this DNA altering toxic liquid that people are being injected with, whether it I think Rudolf Steiner said that one day there would be some kind of injection which prevented the human to connect with spirit, and I worry that that may be what is one of the ingredients or programs within this this treatment, this experimental treatment. So anyway, I'm going to read this invocation, and just with the asking you to realize this is not coming from a religious place. This is coming from an understanding that all of the great teachings have grains of truth and tremendous metaphysical wisdom and guidance for us, especially when we are going through dark times. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to come to you. So get ready. And if you want to come on, maybe put your hand up, as in the hand symbol. On one of the reactions is the hand symbol, and then I'll note, because you get to the top of the screen. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So that to me is truly how we create heaven on earth. And I'm spending so much of my time now in nature as my ultimate remedy, as my ultimate antidote. Every time waves hit my ship, every time shit hits my ship, my antidote is just to take Kobe and go for a walk in the forest, a walk by the river, in the green pastures, by the still waters, breathe the oxygen of the trees, and I spend a lot of time praying as well at the moment. Okay, so let's come to our favorite, Sass. Well, my favorite, I should say. I love it when Sass shows up. So.
You gave me a bit of a shock then, Rachel. I was just settling in to have a nice relax listening to everybody. So, yes, what if
Are you lost for words, Sass? That will be a first.
Well, do you know what? I might be actually. I've been giving a lot of words out. As I said, I've been on a couple of freedom marches over the last few weeks, over the last month, should I say. And it's actually given me quite a lot of inspiration because it's actually revealed quite a lot of my shadow self, which obviously whenever we're looking outwards, as you know, there's always a reflection of what's going on within. Obviously, I do a lot of card reading for people, so it's quite interesting what shows up in my space with all the people that are coming on, and there are just droves and droves and droves of people that are in a desperate situation.
Wow.
With themselves and with their relationships and with their family situations. Obviously, a lot of people are cast asunder because of the differences, and we can see in the media the ramping up of the differences, or the juxtapositions of the vaxxed and the unvaxxed, jabbed and the unjabbed.
Yeah.
That all this business about people are shedding, transmitting, can be transmitting the spike protein through their breath and everything else. So there's so much, again, fear being ramped up, the Indian variant. But of course, as I was speaking to someone who's a scientist, and they said basically a variant is equivalent to you sitting there with your family and your friends and all having a nice afternoon, a cup of tea in the afternoon in the garden, and then you say, oh, well, got a dash, and then you disappear off, and then you come back with a baseball cap that's for the wrong way around, with the peak at the back, which I can't stand, so I wouldn't do it anyway. But let's just say, for argument's sake, you come back into the garden and no one recognises you. None of your family, none of your friends recognise you. So that's basically what a variant is. It's such a tiny, minute a change on the original that your body and your immune system will not be fooled. So just to allay those fears, but I can just see all this ramping up. But again, on the other side is all these people coming together to share how much their awareness is growing and how much has been revealed. And of course, we're coming up, aren't we, for this the blood moon. So, and all around this time, the sort of 22nd of May, 23rd of May, 24th of May, is always a big ramp up for the cabal they like to utilize the energy of the spring and coming up for the equinox, for the solstice, I mean. So
Yeah.
so really, it's just a case that I always say of you strengthening. What I've been working on is spending a lot of time on my own, strengthening and looking at what's coming up for me in terms of my shadows, because I know that when I work on myself, and I literally this March that ended up at the BBC, I think the same happened in London. The
Yes.
expletives that were coming out of my mouth were unbelievable, and unfortunately for me, it got caught on camera. And so people were laughing and saying, I can't believe you, Sash, you don't be so polite. And I said, and just something came over me, and being part of the crowd, when you're part of a crowd, obviously you're picking up all that energy for everybody. So it was as if I was the voice piece for all the anger and all the venom that was going on. And I was just literally swearing and shouting and doing this at the BBC, as they were peering out the windows, all these people were peering out, the shock. But can you imagine all those thousands of people? And we had somebody recording it, of all the people coming in, and they've done a mix. Dennis Barnes has done a mix of the London one from previously, from the 24th of April, plus the one in Manchester. So you've got this mingling and mixing of all these people and all these drummers and all these different people with wearing hats and all the different banners. And it's just quite an exciting movement. So you know that movement is happening within people, because it started out, people were saying it's really disappointing in Manchester because not many people are turning up to these freedom marches. And then all of a sudden, there's a huge swathe of us, literally thousands of thousands, you couldn't see the end. And somebody decided upon themselves to take this whole swathe of people right through the Arndale Centre. And it was, I mean, the shock on people's faces with this great huge chain of crazy people with cameras, and I was drumming away and making lots and lots of noise. So it was just, it's like everything's been risen up. Everything is rousing. That's what it feels like. And it's going to sort of, keep on reaching a peak, I think. So I don't know what anybody else feels, but if you're feeling a bit flat, because that's the other side of the coin, is people are feeling really flat and really disconnected and discombobulated. So like with you, Rachel, the only thing really is to get together, to go to stand in the park, meet up with people, because when you're with thousands of people that think the same as you or feel the same with you, it's like a wave, and you're part of this wave and this tsunami that is going to push through all the bullshit. It's literally this wave, and you can see volcanoes are going off everywhere. Mother Earth is really ramping up. So the divine feminine energy is rising up, and it is, mainly women that are sort of moving all this thing forward. Okay, you get some of the men that are organizing the events, but it's the women that seem to be really standing up. And I just couldn't believe it. I looked around me and thought, oh God, hi, all these people I haven't seen for ages, all turning up at this meeting. And so on that side, it's ramping up. And then on the other side is the quiet contemplation, the reflection. So it's really interesting to observe. I think that's the only way to get through this craziness, is to be just an observer and notice what comes up for you as you're witnessing and observing it, but not getting involved in the drama, because then you just get caught up in the tsunami and you can't actually do anything effective because you're so overwhelmed. So that's my little version of what I've seen over the last few weeks. And wonderful to see so many people standing up and wanting to be counted, because this is the time to stand up and be counted. So thanks, Rachel. Thanks for your input. It's been wonderful listening to all your videos, and also this bi-weekly Zoom call. It's lovely, and I really enjoy being on it. So thank you, everybody, and look forward to hearing what everybody else has to say.
Cool. Thanks, Sass. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good. Thank you for kicking off the show, so to speak.
Yes, I managed not to use any expletives. You better mute me.
So let's come to Philippa next. Philippa Lay.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this. I'm new to you, and I can't tell you what a relief it is, because I have felt very much on my own for the last year and a bit. My children think I've gone insane, and my husband left me, and I just kind of fighting the good fight, so to speak. So I do all the demonstrations, and I've been on all of them. I was next to the German doctor when he was arrested, and as he was put at Speaker's Corner, And as he was put into the police van, he just said 10, 10, 20. And so on the 9th of October last year, I got up and I drove to Heathrow and I got on a flight and I went to Berlin. And what I witnessed there was truly one of the most passionate things in my life. I'm just going to have to tap on it. I spent 7 hours trying to find people and I couldn't. And I sat there on a memorial crying, wondering what I was doing as a middle-aged, nearly 60-year-old woman sitting there kind of in a foreign country. And then I saw the police vans coming just really slowly. And then I saw the people, 1.3 million people walked past me, and I joined with them. And what was so lovely for me is, so I've written a book, and in the book, I talk a lot about forgiveness and gratitude. And I was able to sit there for the first time ever in my life and forgive Germany for what it did to my father and my grandfather, and then give complete gratitude because they get this. They've been there before. You know, this is ancestral reliving for them. And I came back feeling just amazing. And I sat down, and in 3 months, I wrote a book called The Natural Wellness Journal. So it's basically facts and hacks to cope with crap. So I'm a self-healer from a near-death medical procedure. I had a spinal fusion and they missed my spine with the anesthetic and nearly killed me. I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I was addicted to opioids, alcohol. I lost the 4 women who formed my life, my mother, my sister, my 2 best friends, and my health spiraled out of control until I saw 4 consultants on 4 days and asked if it was connected. And they don't know. They just deal with, oh, I'll cut your tumor out. I'll give you an injection. And so I went on a journey to self-heal. I look a bit shit today, but that's because I'm still working around the clock because we have a lot of work to do. And the purpose of this is to lift the energy vibration scale for us to, this is a very, very short window of time that we have to change the paradigm in which we live. And I truly believe that when other people know how powerful the human body is and mind, because it's extraordinary what I've done. I mean, I literally didn't leave my bed for 2 years. I couldn't really speak, and now I can't stop. And I want to join this fight, and I just feel like I've come home. So thank you. I feel like I'm not alone. Bless you.
Wow, thank you so much, Philippa. And I'm loving how many halos there are on the call already. Your halo and Sas's halo. So that is so super wonderful to hear that story, and well done to you, and just that getting on a plane and going to Berlin as well.
I'll send you the book, Rachel. I'd love to send you the book for everything you do for us. So.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'll send you my maybe if you private message me on Telegram, maybe I'll send you my address.
I'm not on Telegram yet. I need to get on there. So I'm working on that. I'm doing so much at the moment. I'm opening a YouTube channel and a TikTok, and you know,
yeah.
So
if you email me with rising in the email title, rising with an E, RISINGE, rising, which is the name of our eco community, and that will go into a special folder and it will get my attention.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Philippa.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really wonderful to hear your share and your story. Lovely. Let's come to John next. I'm going across people who've got their hand up. So John, if you'd like to come on.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Do you know what? Every time I come on here, I just think I'll sit here and listen. I have thoughts in my head, and then as soon as people start speaking, I think, oh my God, that's what's been going on in my head. And Sas, you're absolutely fantastic there. Yes, of course it is. The rising of the feminine, and I'm really, really pleased about that. Women taking the lead on that. But what I really wanted to say was, last time I came on here, I listened in, and what I did notice, and I had a little bit of annoyance within myself, was that how come people are saying things, and that's like old hat, really. And then when I went away, I thought, what it is actually is everybody here are in different stages of grief. And I think that's really what's going on for everyone is trying to battle a way through. That young lad last time where he was denied his hospital treatments and his anger and all the rest of it. Of course, you know, denial is one, which is the vast majority of everywhere in the world, really. Then it's anger, then it's bargaining, and then depression, acceptance. And that's just one model. There are a couple of models of grief. And I suppose myself, really, where I am, as I'm in acceptance, I'm in the reorganization stage of things. And I think, you know, and that was my confusion, I think, is, you know, which is the simple thing is, what do I do now? You know, where most people are up to. But most people, I think you were talking before, Philippa, it was Philippa or you, I can't remember, you were just saying before about, you know, people gushing and talking a lot of nonsense like that. Well, that's part of all the stages of grief, isn't it? All these different things where people are up to. And if we can take that on board, we're better armed to be able to embrace these people who are in a different place than we are, maybe, you know, or, you know, or tools for yourself to be able to come to some acceptance within yourself that it is grief. Grief is where we're up to. And, you know, it's a matter of moving forward with that. You know, that was that on that. But just another thing on what we were saying about the shedding. I've got a neighbour and he chats to me all the time. He's a lovely man and all like that. But he's in my company. I don't feel well for days. You know, he's had the second one. I try to avoid him, but you can't, can you? You know. So much like Philip was saying, there are things coming to the fore to be able to, like some teas. I think it was pine tea, wasn't it? It was one of them. But a few other things to arm ourselves against this, these spike proteins and that to come on board. But just another thing that was on the papers, and I did mention it in another time I was on, about you can't get any dental treatment. And they've just announced it's going to be 3 years before you're going to be able to see a dentist.
Really?
Yes, today in one of the papers, can't remember which one it was. Until you can't say 3 years because the numbers, until the numbers are manageable. That's quite foreboding, that, isn't it, as a statement? You
wow.
know. And maybe one of the reasons I saw a video from a friend of mine is the reaction between aluminium and mercury. And of course, I think all of us have all got the amalgam in our mouth.
Okay.
And within the injection, there's aluminium.
Interesting.
So I think the dental side of it is probably what they're trying to do is not as soon as you've been to your dentist and you got your filling done and you have the jab, you're suddenly.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting connection.
That was just something that clicked in my mind this morning. You know, when I saw that, I thought, oh, maybe that's why.
Okay.
Real reason because they don't want an en masse happening, do they? Which is,
yeah,
you know, it defeats the point of where they're going. But I think,
okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
all right, John. Yes. No. Are you complete?
I'm complete. Thank you very much, everyone, for hearing me.
Thanks, John, for that. Thanks for coming on. So I'm just going to come back to the screens. Actually, we've got 95 people on. And so if anyone who's just joined wants to be on the call, if you put your yellow hand up, as in the action reaction button, let's just see. Oh, everyone's looking a bit glum today. Normally everyone's kind of happy, smiley faces. Maybe we're feeling a bit low. We've got 4 screens full of you today. So let us come on and let's have some joy. Yes, Joy Nicholson. She's smiling there.
Thank you. I thought that would help. Thank you for this, Rachel. I haven't heard that psalm since I was in school, and I always used to think about it, so I want to comment on it. I have actually studied at degree levels psychology and linguistics, and I'm quite interested in how things are translated. And I always wondered why there was a rod and there was a staff. Surely they're both long, pointy, phallic-shaped things. And I think that's been a translation, unless anyone knows it better than me. I think that's been a deliberate mistranslation to miss out the divine feminine. And the thing was, I actually read a meditation this morning in a new book I've never opened before, and it was about the cup of the divine feminine and the staff of the divine masculine. And as an alchemist, I've got a staff, and I realized that I also have a cup. So I just wanted to say to everyone, this is again the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And perhaps we need to read that. When we read that, we translate it into, I have a staff and I have this divine cup, which is like a crucible, which is like a witch's cauldron, which is the bit that we put stuff in, which we haven't quite sorted out yet, but we know we can do something with it. So that was
isn't it? My cup runneth over.
Yeah,
Thy rod and the staff is the bread.
The staff is the bread, is it?
So thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. My cup runneth over in the next verse.
Well,
so the masculine and the feminine are both in there. Just want us to say that.
Thank you. You can tell you've been to church more than I have. The staff is the bread, as in, how does that translate? Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, that's my understanding, is that's what the staff means. But and the rod, the rod in truth is the magic wand of the magician.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which we all have. We all have the opportunity to use and learn how to use it. That's it. But I still don't get where the staff translates to bread. So sorry about that. I'd love it. Explain more, but yeah.
I think the thing with that psalm is to really listen with your heart, because if you get into the mind trying to work it all out, but the essence of it is basically to go back into nature and to have faith that there's a higher power that is looking after us. So on my altar, Jesus has got a lamb because he's symbolic of the shepherd. And it's basically that there's a higher power beyond the illusion, which is pure love, which is always there to look after us. And all we have to do is connect to it, whatever your version of that is.
When I listened to it, I was like in my head doing a bit of this. And then, but what I did get was the image of the ancient Egyptians, because they had a threshing rod. I think it was called a rod, but they had two. They had the staff of the sheepkeeper, the shepherd, and they had this threshing rod. So perhaps it's actually been translated from the ancient Egyptian because of the link with these scenes through Yeshua.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it just made me think. So because people started off with divine, feminine, masculine, I thought, oh yeah. Anyway, thank you for that.
Okay, Joy.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, and thanks for sharing. I am going to come to Michael Mankinder in LA. I have a soft spot for Michael, and I appreciate the fact that you're probably, I don't know, is it the middle of the night there?
It's only 4:30 a.m. No problem. So thank you so much. I dropped in 2 weeks ago, and but didn't get on with you. So it's great to reconnect. You've had quite an impact on me way over here. I want to share a couple interesting little things. This is the bell which was by my mother's bedside when she was bedridden for a year after almost dying after stillbirth when I was 4 years old. But when I saw you use a bell like this one, I found it quite intriguing because the bell and the dorja have been a big symbol in my life. And I always wear one since 1997 when the first one was given to me.
Yeah.
So there's many lovely things with you, Rachel. And one is that you can still keep saying I'm in Los Angeles because San Diego is basically a Los Angeles suburb because Los Angeles is so massive. But I'm currently working with a ranch in the San Diego area now. And the owner not only has this space, but is working with various investors to create a consortium of landowners that are all congruent with the way that we're feeling about the world and all that. So we're on a similar page to you.
Yes, yes. I hear stories that the farmers are being paid to destroy their crops in America. Is that true?
So I have heard, yes. So those who are doing their own thing, and I believe there are holistic doctors, dear sir, who spoke before, or pardon me, dentists, holistic dentists. So all such folk need to unite, and we're working on it. I need the right database developer to really pull the Mankinder vision of resource shared databases together worldwide.
Yeah.
But thanks to folks like you, Rachel, you're bringing in your flock, and then it can connect with other flocks. Another one, for instance, is Sasha Stone.
Yeah.
I and others are going to be participating in his nationwide here in the U.S. Arise tour, and that's arise.world. And I'll provide a couple of links in the chat.
Yeah, wonderful. Cool. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see who's next. Annie Davenport. I'm just coming along the people who've got their hands up in the boxes. Annie, can you speak?
Yes, I can. Hello, Rachel. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back. Haven't been for a couple of weeks.
Hi.
Yeah, it's a bit full on at the moment. I think this eclipse is, this moon is a whopper, isn't it? And I've certainly found, and friends have found, it's a bit a challenge. And I was thinking, amongst all the melee in my head and everywhere else, even with all the tools I use, faith and trust and keeping energy high and everything else, and it was pretty darn difficult. And then I remember wonderful Zach Bush last year talking about beauty, and I knew the book to go to, and I went straight to the shelf and picked out wonderful, the late John O'Donoghue's Divine Beauty. I don't know if many of you will know John O'Donoghue, but I can recommend. He sadly died very suddenly about 10, 12 years ago, but he writes and speaks. There's little bits of him online, videos, and I can highly recommend it. But I just thought perhaps I could share just a paragraph that really helped me in case it's of any whatever. Is that okay, Rachel?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
So he ends the introduction with, when we lose sight of beauty, our struggle becomes tired and functional. When we expect and engage the beautiful, a new fluency is set free within us and between us. The heart becomes rekindled and our lives brighten with unexpected courage. It is courage that restores hope to the heart. In our day-to-day lives, we often show courage without realizing it. Courage is amazing because it can tap into the heart of fear, taking that frightened energy and turning it towards initiative, creativity, action, and hope. When courage comes alive, imprisoning walls become frontiers of new possibility. Difficulty becomes invitation, and the heart comes into a new rhythm of trust and sureness. There are secret sources of courage inside every human heart. yet courage needs to be awakened in us. The encounter with the beautiful can bring such awakening. Courage is a spark that can become the flame of hope, lighting new and exciting pathways in what seem to be dead, dark landscapes.
Mm.
And then suddenly I went and looked at flowers and leaves and even the kitchen taps somebody had designed and created and built, and there was beauty everywhere, and it really, really helped.
Oh.
I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much. It reminds me of John Lamb Lash, who, you know, this Build Back Better, 666, Build Back Better. And his antidote was Bring Back Beauty, which is the 3 Bs with the 333, Bring Back Beauty. So a wonderful video that he did called Bring Back. I don't even know it's the video is called Bring Back Beauty, but that was the message of it. And that really resonated, because that is truly what has been taken away. And it's like this soulless, lifeless, on off, black and white world that has no love, no nuance, no hope. It's just functional. And I feel that we are the ones to bring that beauty back. And so thank you for sharing that.
Well, showing that it's always there. They can try and take it away, but they can't take away love. They can't take away truth. They can't take away beauty. They're inherent.
Yes.
They really are. Easy to it's not even forget. I don't know. It's another word. It'll be different for all of us on every day.
Yeah. Trying to dumb it down.
Yeah.
Trying to dumb that down. Yeah. Take that away. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing that. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Okay. Who next? Speaking of beauty, let's come to Helen, the beautiful Helen.
Hello, that's very nice. Thanks, Rachel. Hello, everybody. I haven't been here for a while. What I might ask actually, Rachel, though, is if I share something, is it possible that it's edited out for the YouTube? Or is that a massive problem?
Well, I do neaten this up, but I don't like to edit out content if I can help it. Can you moderate it to make it?
I will moderate it as much as I can. Bear with me if it gets a little bit weird. So I've spoken before where I have a very, very, very dear, trusted friend who is involved deeply with stopping what's happening, and has been for decades. And I have really good news in terms of the, lots of things that I said before, but the light is one, and a lot of the darkness that's now playing out is being allowed to, because it has to get that dark for the deep transformation of people to really wake up and realize their divinity, sovereignty, and see what's happened. There's a movement, just thinking about what I can say, there's a movement in the States that's where a lot of medical professionals have become aware of what they're actually putting in people. And so, but because people are so desperate for it to happen, it's either saline or they're literally just being poked and told they've had it.
Wow.
Which is good to know. And not all medical professionals are there, but that I know it's happening in the States. I don't know about other places. There's also other people who are infiltrating the supply chain with saline. And the good news about 5G is that will now be a healing frequency that will be coming through at some point. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't advise, going to buy a house with a mast on it or anything, but in the long term, that is not going to play out as planned. And there's other things, but I don't want to share those too widely. But essentially, it's going to be messy and horrible, as we know. But there's some really significant, amazing things moving in the background.
Yeah, that's good to know, Helen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that that ray of good news and hope.
Yeah,
The
well, we
star of
need
hope.
it.
You're
Yes.
like the tarot card number 17 there, the star of hope.
Absolutely. And this eclipse on Wednesday is also so hugely transformative, and we'll be feeling the ripple effects for the next few months. So really great time for looking at what you're releasing and letting go of.
Yeah.
Globally, corruption and all of that.
Yes. Cool. Thanks for coming on, Helen. Good to see you
Thanks for doing
again.
it, Rachel. Lovely to see you and everyone else.
Yeah. So let's come to Peter next. Peter Courtney.
How
Hi.
are you?
Hi, Peter.
Hey, Rachel, get to speak. Been here a few times. It's great. Unfortunately, I feel that my situation is not as upbeat as that of the last speaker, because I feel I lost my mum to the jabs. I've got two elder brothers who I really can get through, and it's in relation to I come from an African kind of culture, and one was staying with my mum, and she's 87 and she was fine. She had a second jab and was down for 3 days, and then 3 months later she's no longer here.
Wow.
And when she went into hospital, she was there for 3 weeks, and I knew on the Wednesday that she had to come out. By Thursday she had a massive heart attack. Friday went to see her, and she was clinging to my hand and was on all kinds of antibiotics, really hard stuff. Spoke to the doctor, and he said, well, she won't be there in the morning, basically, and she wasn't. She passed Saturday morning about 2:15 in the morning. And one of my oldest brothers comes from a police background. My middle brother, even when we went to the pub yesterday to go and see the football, he was literally wearing a mask from where we were sitting to go to the toilet, and he's got his hand sanitized. And I have to accept that I couldn't get through those, and I have to accept my mum's gone, knowing that she would still be here if she hadn't been jabbed. And I have no proof of that. My instincts, I meditate, I train, I've been in circle, I know what's going on. And it's so difficult to then not, do you break up your love for your brothers if you argue with them? So I had to kind of say, look, we're not talking about that, because I don't want to break up that bond, because it's just 3 of us left. My father died when I was 2 days after my 18th birthday. So it's kind of difficult, where I feel myself angry. I feel myself in a place where I'm not sure what to do. I've looked to the church to look, I'm a Eucharistic minister as well, so I serve and do sessions at church. And I've spoke to them about grievance. I've spoke to other people, and I'm not getting the help. I'm not getting anyone to kind of deal with this condition of anger, frustration, because the fact of the matter is my mum passed and they couldn't find what she passed of. So she's literally thrown in the fridge for 2 weeks because the coroner didn't know what she died of. And then it was down to the heart attack, which was, severe acute carditis. I'm sorry, I've got it wrong, but it's a bit emotional for me. And I think at 87, she didn't have corona virus. She didn't have any other issues. They couldn't find what's wrong with her. So it just tells me that if she hadn't had the jab, she'd still be here.
Yeah.
But actually getting it across to your family, and then having a Ugandan family, everyone's now bombarding me. It's very emotional. It's very raw, because people didn't expect it. You think 87 you would, but she was fine. So yeah. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling, because I'm obviously raising my vibration. I'm involved with people like Ravi, Coratone singer, and other people that I'm helping, because I've been in music for many years in the past. And I don't know what to do, really. I'm in a place where I want to just get on with my life, but I'm just really stuck with this feeling of angst, pain. My brother's blocking me. My mum, I know my dad's angry, because I feel that, in spirit, he's talked to me and said, look, there's nothing you could do. I just felt, I feel a bit powerless, and that's really, really kind of upsetting me. So I don't know what you guys know or what you feel, but when when your mum's not here, she should be here, and that you've got those barriers, and I'm getting myself more involved with spreading the light, spreading the joy, raising my vibration, getting involved with things like Create Your Destiny and other manifestations, and do momentum stuff in terms of my vibration and going into innocence. But it's still churning. That's all I can say, the churn. And I feel that this big, solar eclipse, big eclipse that's coming on Wednesday is going to be very powerful. And I agree, it's going to be very powerful. So I've got a guy who's doing my Basi chart tomorrow. He's a good friend of mine. He's from Peru. via the States, and he's actually going into a community. He's in a community.
Yeah.
So I want to know what I'm about, so I can then be of peace. Because for me, at the core of my being is freedom, whatever it means. It means going into community, it means going into a monastery, it means going to the hills or the forest. I'm open to go where I'm needed, because I know that I've got a lot to give the world. And I've asked the higher powers to be a light in the darkness. You know, yesterday was Pentecost, where you were the light and you're the fire. So everyone on this call is the light, the fire of the earth, and the universe is listening and watching.
Yeah.
So ready to really inflame the world and bring about the truth and shed light on the darkness. But I'm in this place where I just feel in turmoil, and I'm sorry for sharing it in front of all these people, but it's my truth. This is where I'm at, you know.
Oh, Peter, thanks for sharing, and really sorry to hear about your mum. And I just want to share a piece of wisdom which was passed on to me by my trauma healing training therapist, Juliet Yelverton, when I was going through a really dark time, and I was trying to find the light and forgiveness. And she just said, you're trying to move to forgiveness before you fully felt your anger. And you've got to fully feel the anger. And I actually did some real deep exercises on really going into that base chakra rage, absolute rage of the injustice and the how wrong, and you know, and I can even see it in what you're wearing with that little bit of red that you've got underneath, that you're, you know, that going deep into that base chakra where all of our anger and rage sits. It is volcanic energy, and fully feeling that is so important. And I really took her advice, and I did some deep stuff around rage. I actually did a video called Rage. You can look at it on my YouTube channel, where I talk about that journey into my rage. And it was very liberating. And that's the true liberation, the inner liberation, not necessarily the freedom to you know, on the external planes, but the inner liberation, so that we can liberate ourselves from our inner fear, our inner anger, our rage, our grief, all of those things, that we can work through them and find a way back to the light of faith. And this is the journey, you know, this is the human journey. And so so much love to you on that. And yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that. I mean, this is what's going on is just outrageous. It's utterly outrageous what is going on. And to add insult to injury, for those of us questioning to be mocked and outcast and labeled as refuseniks and terrorists, and I mean, it's just wrong. It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Yeah, I just think if anyone's here on the call that could help or communicate, then I'm happy to share what I have to support others, because I'm still in service and I'm still on call. But there is the rage there. My background is dance and martial arts and all kinds. So it's like I've actually gone to the gym and I start hitting the bag now, you know, and I train 6 days a week. So I'm in a place where I want to release that, but you know, it's still, I don't lose my brothers, you know, and it's difficult. It really is difficult.
Yeah.
But I know on this call, people like yourself, other people that I'm in tune with, you know, with Firearm and all this other stuff that I'm doing, you know, there's hope. And I know the time is now for us to take action, whatever way that looks like. I'm doing it more in my meditation. I want to connect with people and vibrate, to have a circle and do that. And I think we just need to rise up. And that's what I'm here, you know, so we all should feel strong as family. You're my sister, I'm your brother.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. And it's for all family.
So
yeah, anyone can help, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Peter, Philippa, who came on earlier, who wrote the book, she's saying, how can she PM you? So maybe there's a way, and I will send out the recording of this with this chat log. So maybe if you could put your email in there, maybe Philippa or Peter, so that you've both got one another's a way to contact. People have got a way to contact you. If you put your email in the chat, maybe.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
But thank you for coming on. And
thank you for your time.
Yes, and sometimes, you know, we all want to be of service, but sometimes the best service is our own inner healing, because when clear that, then when we come back into service, we come back in a, you know, in a more powerful way. So don't feel that you have to be on output. Sometimes we just have to be on input and give ourselves time and space to do the inner transformation.
Yeah, I think the Barzi is going to help, and I would probably look into my Akashic records. I want to kind of do that work as well. I think that's really important to really kind of see where it's all coming and see how we can manifest, because we are the group, we are the force of good, and the light will always beat the darkness. We are going to make a massive change, and we are going to be in community, and we are going to be living the lives we are wishing to lead, with freedom, respect, and joy and peace and love at the heart of it all. So thank you so much.
Okay, lots of love to you, Peter. Thanks for coming on. Thank you. Okay, so who is next? Who would like to come on next? Orgon Box is waving. It's got a hand up and is waving. So Orgon Box. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hiya. Hi, everybody. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah. Hello.
Well, it's an odd one for me, really, because I think I already said to you when I first chatted some time ago that I'm a therapist and a clinical supervisor. It's been really difficult for me because I'm clearly meeting up with people, professional people, medical people, who they're not getting it. They're really, I don't bring the subject up as such because it's not ethical for me to do that. Obviously, they're there to talk about the things that they need to talk about. But inevitably, one of the things that comes up is everything that's been happening all over the last 15 months. And when I then approach the particular subject, and I do it tentatively because I don't want to frighten people, what I know is what I know and what I believe is what I believe. And if I can share that and they want it to be shared with them, I have no issue with that. But I'm coming across more and more people who they don't want to know. The medical people I'm working with, it's as if it's a new conversation to them. It's as if this hasn't happened apart from what they see. And by the time they come to work, do their job, then go home, have all the stuff that they've got to deal with at home anyway, and then get a shower, go to bed, they don't even see the news. Never mind anything that you, me, and the rest of the folk that are actually looking into this and taking it seriously. They're not seeing anything. And it's really hard for me because here I am, somebody who's there to listen to them and to look for solutions sometimes, to look for ways that we can enlighten ourselves for good practice and so on and so forth. And I feel like a fraud. I'm sitting there now thinking, what have we been doing all these years? That now there's a subject to be seriously looking into and seriously debated and seriously researched. I'm realizing these people, either they don't want to, they can't, they're not able, they don't have time, and they seem shocked when I'm telling them the things that they should know. You know, whether it's research, some of these people do research. They're doing research into this very subject, and yet no, F all. And I'm not a nurse, I'm not medical. I come from a psychosocial background. I've trained for many years, since 1998. I've gone through all the stuff that many of us, I'm sure you guys, there's plenty of you here that have done it. And I'm sitting here listening to that guy, Mom, David.
Yeah, I can feel that despair.
I'm angry, really. It's a bit like you've just said for Peter. There is a place for us to be fucking angry because we are actually being used and abused. I've worked with many people with domestic violence, child stuff. You guys know it all. I don't have to go into it all. You know what I'm talking about. And this is like some fucker has picked the book up and said, you know what? Let's just give it them this way. And it is abuse. and it's groom, and it's everything you can ever imagine. You know, we talk about the rabbit hole. It's not a rabbit hole. I heard somebody saying, I think it was yesterday, it's the rat hole. It's the rat hole we're going down. And the stuff that we're being subjected to, it's just beyond, it's beyond anything. I'm struggling. I'm not struggling to understand it. I've got it in my mind. I'm determined I am not going down any pathway that is coerced or forces me to do something against my will. And for anybody else that asks me that question, I will tell them straight. I'm same as most guys. I haven't worn a mask. I'm not getting a vaccine, and I'm looking after my own autonomy, my own mind. I'm doing everything I can that keeps me fit and my partner. But it's difficult, and I don't want to sound disrespectful when I say this. The tarot cards aren't going to do it for me. The crystal bells aren't. None of this stuff's not going to do it for me. I know how to go into a quiet place. I know how to be quiet, but that's where that stops. I need to understand as much as I can how I protect me, because I know I have to do that first, as most of you guys do, but also how I protect others, to actually give them the right information, to be sure of it, and take the consequences when they come to me, because there will be some. I'll probably lose my job and everything else. So hey ho, that's just the way my life will have to rock. And that's it, really. It's, you know, I am angry, and I think we have a right to be angry. I just wish I knew how to get that anger out so I can move on to the next bit. But it's not by me meditating. It's not by me being quiet. I can do all of that. That's not working right now. I feel like I want to knock shit out of somebody. That's how angry I am, and get great pleasure out of it, doing that at the same time. And you know what, I'm probably one of the nicest people you can meet when I'm nice, but I'm a Rottweiler, and you know, I'm only 4'11", so I'm a terrier size with a Rottweiler inside, literally wanting to kill somebody. And
absolutely.
Hey, you know, I shook my gob. I took loads of time up, but anyway, I send love, believe it or not. To all of you, and you, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And yes, and you know, and this is the purpose of the stillness, the meditation, the going into nature, because we can take those really strong, difficult feelings, and we can really work through them and fully feel into them, and use those tools to help us to ride those waves, because otherwise we risk going into a place of fight, flight, fuck it. And that is actually what they want, because fear and anger feed the Wetiko, because we're dealing with lower dimensional, it is reptilian energy. It's that lower Wetiko energy that needs to feed off us. And literally, I was with my local community support group yesterday, and they're quite into this whole world of this feeding. And it's like they're running out of food, and they need to ramp up, because they literally feed energetically off the fear and the anger. And so they need that. So it's very important for us, when we're feeling that, to work through that and to transmute it, so that when we come back out into our action, it's from that absolute core place of strength, like they're standing in the center of the hurricane and saying, no, you will not bully me, you will not abuse me. And it's like that absolute, coming from that absolute core place of connectedness, and there's nothing weak about that at all, or it's super strong. And it's when someone's in that place where there's no fear, and there's just that really strong, no, we do not consent, enough now. That is super powerful, and we have to find that place. Okay, it's coming up to 1 o'clock. I'm just going to have one last voice. So let's come to Rob Hemmings, who's sitting there patiently. And sorry, I couldn't get to everyone, but it's been an interesting call. So please do hang on, because I'm going to finish by coming across the screen. So let's just hear from Rob quickly. If you could just.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks you. Hi, everybody. And yeah, it's my first time actually, but I'm bubbling up inside because what I'd like to share with everybody is what I've known since about 2012. Just to give you a quick background, I'm a heart coherence coach with the HeartMath industry, the HeartMath Institute, and I train with them. And I've taken the heart coherence system quite seriously, recognizing back then that this is valuable. Since then, I've been using HeartMath equipment to measure people's heartbeat rhythms, and I can confirm to everybody here now that 90% of people have extremely erratic heartbeat rhythms. Now, of course, the mind and the heart are connected, and the fear that is being imposed upon us and that is being being sort of instigated into us upsets the heartbeat rhythm. And it's a two-way thing. So when your heart is beating erratically, it compounds you to feel more fear. Okay, so the HeartMath Institute say, think calm thoughts, imagine stroking your pet, think of nature, and your heartbeat rhythm will calm down, it'd be less erratic. But also, what you can do is you can breathe in time with your heartbeat, and you can use something that's called the respiratory sinus arrhythmia response, and you can very powerfully, without any thoughts, you can smooth out your heartbeat rhythm. And it's quite dramatic. And once you've got your heartbeat rhythm in check, and you know exactly how to make it beat smooth and rhythmically with your breathing, then you can do that anytime, okay? And you can make it a habit so that muscle memory will encourage it to happen all the time, okay? So I basically found the perfect ratio between breathing and heartbeat. Okay, so I can teach anybody here how you can take your own pulse and you can breathe in time with it to a very specific number, and you can perfect your heartbeat rhythm, and you can sit there and use it like a meditation technique and take your pulse, breathe in time to it, and you can feel it speeding up as you breathe in and slowing down as you breathe out. And so what happens is you get a perfect smooth heartbeat rhythm like this. Okay, and you can sort of maintain that for an hour, whatever you want. But it's like a very good meditation technique that doesn't require any thought. Okay, you just perfectly tune in to your breathing and your heartbeat, which of course are your two main biological functions. And then the mind was like, you don't have to think.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
all of this stuff that's going on around us is like, yeah, well, whatever,
Yes.
it's like your heart is the key. Your mind, they've got us in our minds. They've got us like this because they put this, the fear of God fear of the devil probably into all of us. And we're
Yes.
all like, ugh, and our hearts just don't get a break. So,
Yeah.
and breathing and heartbeat rhythm, they are the keys to get you out of this mental fear state,
Yeah.
get you back into your own inner sort of sanctuary, and then see that this is all mental. And mental means what? Mad, and it means mental. We need to get back here. This is where we came from. When you're born, you don't think. And your whole body, your whole world, it all springs from the wellspring of your heart. Yeah.
Yes.
But they have hijacked our minds through the education system and all the rest of it, and it's habitual thought and fear that's keeping us locked into this bullshit world. And the only way to get out of it is go back into your own hearts. But you can't do that when your heart is beating erratically. So you use this technique, bring your heart back into a rhythm, then you can start to relax a bit more and then see this is mental.
Yeah.
You have to get back into here. This is the trick. Anyway,
Okay, Rob.
I'm bubbling it because it's like
Yeah, no, it's kind of where we started. It's kind of, if you listen to this recording, it's actually what I started with about being in the heart.
I arrived late. I didn't hear that.
Interesting. So we've actually come full circle. So thanks for that. I'm just conscious of time, Rob, so I'm going to mute you back, but thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, and when you listen to the recording of this, that was the first thing that I talked about dropping from the mind and the heart being the master and the mind being the servant. And thank you, Michael, for, I had to unmute myself because yes, you can hear the puppy on my lap. Kobe is snoring. So that's what you can hear. So I have actually got a dog on my lap. I'm stroking while I'm talking as my little calming mechanism. So yeah, thanks for that, Rob. And I do also feel that about going into nature, about calming the nervous system, regulating the heart, all of these things to bring us back into that place of calm, so that when we move back into action, it's inspired action, and we're not fight, flight, trigger, and in that weak place of reacting, can fully respond to life. So thank you so much for bringing us back to the heart, Rob. And I'm just going to come across the gallery and just waving goodbye to everyone. Sorry I couldn't get to more people, and lots of love to you. And thank you all so much for coming on. Thank you for showing up, just coming across the screens. Thank you for waving hi to D Sunshine there. Hello, thanks for I saw your comment in the chat about the yoga breath. Very powerful too. And yeah, so good to see so many of you on. And yeah, and hi to Angela there. I've just seen you. Hi, Angela. So much love to you all. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your tenacity. Thank you for showing up week after week, and for being there for me and for one another, because together we are strong. Lots of love. Have a great day. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.